Let me see.
Or,
You just found one and it said, couldn't be any more than that.
Yeah,
You're talking about the email, Sherry?
yeah.
yeah.
I have it right here.
The Lee, was there a Lee Schwab one? I missed that one. Here, I just thought I was on my email. Thank you. She's not alone.
Did you have fun seeing this?
We just got there for a short time period.
Come down for your parade?
Strong dislike grades. My nieces were in marching band, so we had to go and watch their parades, and it was like you sit through the whole thing for like 5 seconds of them going.
There was some pretty good candy thrown at the parade this year.
I just give it to the kids, it's not a thing.
So which marching band was she in?
They were both Laconia.
We were right behind Chaska, which was good.
Who was?
What
The
were
DFL.
you on?
Oh, yeah, I saw you.
Are we gonna get in trouble if we don't start on time?
We're gonna start on time.
We still have 26 seconds.
Natalie, you want to tell Erin we have 30 seconds? Don't make me yell for her. 'Cause we are starting on time. Yes, you are. She's not here.
I ate dinner early tonight. Normally I eat when I get home.
Yeah.
But I looked at the agenda and like, maybe have a snack, go to bed. That's how it is.
It is 6:30 on Thursday, September 19th. I will call this planning commission meeting to order. Our first order of business will be to approve the agenda. May I please get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Billy,
Second.
second by Sherry. Any comments, questions, additions, deletions? Nope. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Agenda is approved. Now could I please get a motion to approve the meeting minutes from August 15th, 2024?
Make motion.
Motion by Krista, for second.
Second.
Second by Sherry. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Okay, we're to item number 4 now, public hearings. Our first one is for Carver Oaks. It's a preliminary plat public hearing. Aaron, do you want, or should I make this Aaron do it? He said you wanted to give the presentation. Didn't you say you wanted to give the
That's
presentation?
what I heard.
I have great slides.
He didn't say that, okay. Somebody take it away.
I will take it away.
Should I wait for you guys to talk and then open the public hearing?
I'm going to tell you just what to do on the next slide.
Okay.
Alrighty, thank you, Chair, members of the commission. Tonight, like you mentioned, we have a public hearing for preliminary plat for a project called Carver Oaks. We have actually a couple public hearings. We have a second one for United Properties, preliminary plat and final plat, and then Les Schwab, we have a site plan, and then zoning ordinance review. So for Carver Oaks tonight, we have preliminary plat, which requires a public hearing. Rezoning for this project is not required. It's zoned R2 PRD, which this project fits within. Are you okay? Okay. So I'm gonna, and then make recommendation to the city council on preliminary plat. Alrighty, so we are talking about land that is owned by the CDA, the Carver County Community Development Agency. Allison is here, Steve is here, there's members of their whole development team, so I'll invite them up after my presentation so they can be part of the dialogue if you have specific questions for them. This project is along Jonathan Carver Parkway. It's just south of Carver Crossing, which is the CDA's first project that they worked on the site south of Carver Station, south of the elementary school, adjacent to Copper Hills, the R2 single-family portion of this project. So Carver Oaks is the third and final building on the CDA site. It's 43 units of senior-specific multifamily housing. There are 43 underground parking stalls with 15 service spaces. The CDA has owned the property that they're looking to propose this project on since 2010, so 2010 feels like it was 5 minutes ago, but it was actually 14 years. And then approvals for Carver Oaks began as part of the 2015 review of Carver Crossing. So all of these buildings were tied together with the reviews and with Copper Hills, which is the single-family portion of the project. Again, the property is zoned R2 PRD. The project meets the approved PRD. So PRD is planned residential development, so R2 planned residential development. The PRD was used here in this case to allow for sharing of density. So Copper Hills alone did not meet the density of the city's approved comprehensive plan. So Carver Crossing, Carver Place, and Carver Oaks allowed that project to develop by increasing the density on the site. And then the PRD was also used for a mix of housing types. So anytime that there's a mix of housing types, so Timber Creek is a PRD because it was townhomes and single family. This project was a PRD because it was apartment and single family with Copper Hills. And the Planning Commission and City Council recently reviewed and approved Carver Place, which is the 60-unit apartment building, which just got under construction. If you've driven JCP recently, some dirt is being moved, there's some fencing that is up, and that is 60 units of multifamily. So Carver Oaks is the 43 senior specific. Carver Place is, I don't think I said that right, 43 senior specific. Carver Place is 60, no age restriction. So thinking a little bit about that PRD, the planned residential development, that was approved in 2015. I have a little snip of the resolution. The density for the comprehensive plan for this area called for 4 to 8 units per acre. So it was 25.5 acres for residential development, which became Carver Crossing, Copper Hills. And then the units that were allowable for the remainder of the property was 102 units to 203. So phase one of Copper Hills was 47 units, took some of those units out. Carver Place is 60, Carver Oaks is 43. So you'll see in the 2015 resolution that was approving the preliminary plat in the PRD, the 68 units are Carver Crossing. And then it says, if approved, the proposed Outlet A, Carver Crossing will have between 0 and 103 housing units that can be constructed for the density of the subject property. 60 units, Carver Place, 43 units, Carver Oaks. You hit that 103 number, that's allowable for the site. So this is the 2019 concept plan that the Planning Commission and City Council saw. Originally, this building looked a little bit different. It was one single building for the 103 units. I hope that someday this project can come to fruition somewhere because I think it was really special that the community spaces in these buildings were proposed to be shared. So the multifamily and the seniors were both going to share community spaces kind of in the center of the building. But due to funding and timing, the building had to split into 2. So it's the same number of units, the same facilities, they just don't share that common wall. So the site layout changed a little bit. The proposed concept looks different. So again, a reminder of what the 2019 concept plan looked like. So Carver Oaks is situated on 1.43 acres of land. The building is slated to be over 61,000 square feet total, so that's all stories combined. There are 32 one-bedroom units, 11 two-bedroom units, and there are community spaces including craft room, library, gym, community room, lobby, and mailroom. And the building additionally will include offices for the CDA staff. So they will be there to lease the units, be there for residents if they have questions, etc. Here's the layout of the building. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a feeling about where we are. So Carver Crossing is here. This is Carver Place, the 60-unit apartment, and then this is Carver Oaks, the 43-unit senior complex. So parking lot for Carver Crossing is here, Carver Place here, Carver Oaks is third. So the entrance to this building will be primarily off Hartwell. You can get in from the north as well, but the parking garage is here. So part of the feedback we got from some residents was thinking about headlights and the direction of headlights, trying to minimize the amount of people going in and out of a site. We switched the buildings around a little bit, added the entrances and exits in a few different locations. The plat is on the screen now. And then a rendering of the building. So this is if you're standing at Carver Place, looking west towards Copper Hills, towards Carver Oaks. So you'll see the building is similar to construction of Carver Crossing and Carver Place, so the three buildings will be in harmony with construction type. General layout of one of the floors, so you can start to get a feel of what the units are and what the layout is. And then a close-up of a 2-bedroom unit as well as a 1-bedroom unit. So entering here into the kitchen, you have a bathroom, living space, and bedroom. These are roughly 650 square feet. 2 bedrooms are roughly 930 square feet. 2 plans that are always, I think, interesting to think about. First is the landscape plan. So the CDA is proposing a pretty dense landscape plan throughout the project. So it includes 34 overstory trees, 214 understory trees and perennial plants. And then the plan on the right shows lighting for the building. So you can see where light will be from all permanent light fixtures. So you can see that light is not proposed to exit the site. So all light will be contained within the Carver Oak sites, which is important for neighbors. Something else I want to highlight, we worked pretty hard with the development team here, is connecting Carver Oaks into the city's greater trail system. So we tried to think of a couple different ways of how we could get there, but moving people north into the trail system that hooks into Carver Crossing and Carver Station felt like the most effective way to get people into our trail system safely. Rendering of the building. So again, this is if you were looking west, if you're in the parking lot. This is the back side of the building along Hartwell Drive, 2 endings of the building. So a public hearing is required for preliminary plat. That's not specific to this project. It's any project that's going through the platting process. Notice was sent to 130 households or property owners. So it's 350 feet from the property boundary. So what that included was everyone in the Carver Crossing building. So that's 68 of those. So 130 felt kind of large, but 68 of that were part of the Carver Crossing project. Notice was also posted in the Waconia Patriot and posted at City Hall. Prior to the meeting, staff received 1 email, which was shared with the Planning Commission. So Allison, Steve, do you want to come up? We can start the discussion. Yeah. Cindy, if you want to open the public hearing, you can do that, and then we can discuss.
Okay, could I get a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Sherry,
Second.
second by Krista. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then this public hearing is now open after all public comments are received. The public hearing will be closed. No further comments on this issue will be received at this meeting. Anyone providing comments should state their name and address for the record. Welcome.
I always think it's on because it looks green, but it's not green enough. I'm Allison Strike, the Deputy Director for Carver County CDA. I can give you a little bit more information about Carver Oaks. I know we've talked about it before, but Carver Oaks will be serving seniors 55 and better at or below 50% of area median income. And currently that's $43,500 for a household of 1. And $62,100 for a household of 2, which would be the max occupancy we would allow. The project will consist of 32 1-bedroom units and 11 2-bedroom units. And additionally, we'll have 7 units of VASH funding. So VASH funding is for homeless veterans. There is a project-based voucher in the unit, so the veteran would pay 30% of their income towards the rent, and the rest would be subsidized. The land is currently owned by the CDA, and as far as a timeline, we are looking to do, to break ground, hopefully by January for an early start and close on this project no later than March 1st, and then happy to take any questions.
Should we start with people in the audience who may want to comment or questions? Thanks, guys. Come on up and state your name and address, please, for the record.
Good evening.
Hi.
My name is Chris Michaels. I live at 1348 Chestnut Circle.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. First off, wanted to thank you, I get that public service is not always very glamorous and not always the most fun. It's people tend to show up when they're unhappy about something, right? Also wanted to specifically. They come here to tell you what a great job
Yeah,
you're doing.
usually.
I also want to publicly call out Erin Smith. I think she's an asset to this city, and she's been phenomenal to work with through this process. So thank you, Erin. A lot of what I have to say may be grievances on a ship that has sailed. So I apologize, and I don't want to take up more time than is needed of everyone attending. But I'm personally not an expert or an authority on zoning and the Met Council, all the things, right? Not an expert. I'm just an average Joe. But this whole process has just been a complete and utter disappointment to me. I signed my purchase agreement in 2019. This ship had sailed prior to that, right?
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to me, and Carver Crossing. And I will tell you that.
Two of us were there.
Okay, well, I think it speaks a lot to that no one's here, right? Because I think the disenchantment, the
There's lots of
disenfranchisement.
people behind you. We just don't know why they're here.
Well, compared to how many people are impacted, right?
Yes,
I think the disenchantment, the disenfranchisement with local government and our elected officials, I think a lot of people came, whether they were appropriate concerns or not, and it didn't make a damn difference. And so, hence, no one's here, right? So once again, feel free to put me back on track if I'm going down the grievance path. Don't want to waste people's time. But, for me, I just think that there's a couple things. Can you, Erin, is it possible to go back some slides to?
Show where your property is.
No, I want to go to that ship sailed to the new building, the third building, or where it shows all of them, right, with the parking entrance.
How about that one?
That's perfect. Okay. So, and you might not be able to hear me at home. Sorry.
There's
So
a traveling mic if you want to feel like a pop star.
what I have to say, no one cares about, so it's not a big deal. See, now I'm the high maintenance guy. So one of the concerns I had, so when I first moved in, my house is down here a little further, right? So you got the Carver Crossing's already there. And so I'm thinking, at least what this building solves for me is the light pollution, right? I guess what I'm saying is, when you're looking at this stuff and you're approving things, think about if this was my backyard, what are some minimum expectations I would want for quality of life, right? So this is gonna solve my light problem, but this one, so the folks that live here on Chestnut Circle, if I'm correct, this is a driveway, right? People are gonna be coming in and out
Yes.
and coming down from here. So that means the people at this end of Chestnut, it's just gonna, and they ripped all of our trees out, or not ours, we didn't own them, it wasn't our property, but all the natural growth that had come in that blocked that. So my concern would be, why not put a 4 or 5 foot fence in or something that blocks the lights? Because if this was your backyard, your deck, in the summers, and in the winters, they'll idle their cars for 45 minutes with the bright LEDs shining in.
Can you bring up the slide with the lighting?
Yeah, that's a whole other deal. So the lighting that they use.
Because,
It-
I'm not seeing how the light from that,
So if you take the Carver, is it Place, the new one?
Yeah.
Carver Place out of the equation, my property, the lights that are in the parking lot of Carver on them, it literally burns my retinas at night. It's bad. And then you have cars that park and they keep their lights on, right?
so you're saying once.
So that new building's gonna solve my problem. What I'm doing is, I
Right.
guess I'm speaking a little bit on behalf of my neighbors, that with the third building, where the garage entrance is, as people come out.
Senior building,
Yes.
with
When-
the seniors living in it that don't go out at night.
Well, they may, but you also have the road, right?
Yep,
So it's just a consideration, right?
Okay,
Like, if this
yeah.
were my backyard,
I'm sorry, how do they exit out today?
up top.
They go up top.
Yep. That was my other concern, is I don't understand why there's 2 entrances. There's so much traffic over there now already with all the development, and people drive like crazy people, and there's kids playing everywhere. I'm not a city engineer, right? I haven't done studies. Here, I'm gonna give you this back. Is it going to result in another stop sign eventually on Hartwell? I don't know, but it seems like we already had a nice
Probably not.
entrance. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Right. So that was the other thing, was the lighting, the two entrances. And then for landscaping, so once again, the ship has sailed for the building right in my backyard, but this third one, and it looks like this is the first time I've seen the landscaping design that Aaron's showing. But I look at it, if someone wants to build in Carver, why don't we, and once again, I'm an idiot when it comes to the ordinances and everything, but how hard is it for us as a city and you as a commission to say, if you want to build in Carver, these are the minimums? And if you can't afford that, or that doesn't fit your budgets,
I think we already do that.
do you? Because I'm going to be honest with you, when you look at,
Those are our ordinances, building policies.
but when I say minimums, I'm saying raise them from where they are today to here. And then that's the new minimum for Carver, right? That's be better than other cities, is my guess.
Okay.
Because we have explosive growth going on right now. I mean, I spent 20 years in Shakopee and witnessed it, right? And the same thing's going to happen out here.
It's happening.
Exactly, right? And so you get one
33
chance to
years
get
I've
it
been
right.
here. Last 20, it's been happening.
Yeah, and you get one chance, right?
Well, yeah,
To get it right, really, because once something's there, it's there.
right.
And then, so just in the future, how do you buffer, right, from whatever's next to whatever's going in, whether it's a Quick Trip or a Mocha Monkey or whatever, right? Because development's going to happen. You can't stop it. And then, so the lighting in general, though, as well. I don't know where you guys live, if you live downtown, you live outside of Carver a little bit, but I consider this kind of the boonies, right? It's 6,500 people.
We
It's
take
not,
offense at that.
well, maybe you do, but I grew up in a small town, so I'm proud of it, right? It's part of the
It was
reason I
less than
moved.
700 when I moved here.
Yep. So I drive, we walk our dog every night, and it's hard to see the stars. There's so much light pollution in this city. And whether it's street lights, whether it's parking lots like this, the new park with the skate, that's beautiful, the park, but oh my gosh, like I have to wear sunglasses when I walk by that thing at night. It's considerations like that, right? And
Well, safety considerations.
it is.
So-
You know what is perfect? JCP, where they put in the bell-style lights that are not on full torch mode. They shoot down, give you beautiful, perfect lighting, and it doesn't leak everywhere. Now I get those are expensive. I understand those are pretty expensive. But, and I don't know, like the lights in my neighborhood, was that city expense or Lennar? So we let them skate. We said, this is the basic minimum we need. And I'll tell you, 1980 called and it wants its streetlights back. Like, let's be better. Let's require these developers, Lennar, D.R. Horton, the CDA, whoever it is, to take some consideration about not the cheapest, not the minimum, but this is what our city expects, right? For quality of life for all of our residents, no matter what the development is. Those are my thoughts. Those bell lights are awesome, by the way. Thank you, whoever approved that and put those in. That's all I had. So thank you so much.
I appreciate your
I appreciate
comments.
it, and I apologize for
No, that's okay.
grievances on a ship that has sailed.
I would just like to make a comment. I think it's important to understand, we're discussing this project now, but this started more than 20 years ago.
Exactly.
And personally, if you move in to Carver or any city, one of the things you have to go do is take a look at the comprehensive plan and find out what's coming in the future.
You are correct. I'm going to stop it right there, Jim. You are correct. That is all on me. So I signed my purchase agreement before I found out what was zoned for behind my yard. I will be completely honest and transparent. I don't think it would have made a difference. I'm not opposed to it being low-income housing. I'm opposed to having a permanent solar eclipse 3 stories high in my backyard. It could be $1 million condos, wouldn't make a difference how I feel about it. And frankly, what was approved 20 years ago and talked about, time moves fast. I'm getting old and time flies. So sometimes you got to go back and take a look. Like that made sense 20 years ago, before Oak Tree was there, before Copper Hills, whatever. Does it make sense today for us? Well, it's too late for this development, but for future developments, it's not too late. And you are correct, so thank you in the fact that I should have looked, but I don't think it would have made a difference.
We have an obligation to the residents of Carver. We also have an obligation to the future residents of Carver. And we can't just raise their prices or do things that you like, and they have to pay more expensive for their houses.
But you can.
Thanks so much.
You can do that. Like, I'll give you one example.
They have a-
I just want to ask one more question if I
No,
can.
wait 1 second. We're not gonna have.
I'm not going to do that. I'm going to ask a
Okay.
question of everybody.
Okay, you can ask a question, but I'm talking to you too. We're not-
Yeah, here's a question, and thank you,
Sure.
Jim. I truly appreciate you, and I'd love to talk offline. One of the other concerns I have in any development, whether it's this or the Lennar development, so I don't know when the last time you drove through Oak Tree was, but drive through it, and the streets, they look like they're 20 years old. Our sidewalks are cracked in several places, and not just a crack, but literally crumbled to pieces. So as a city, why aren't we holding those builders accountable to come back and fix that? Because this happened before the last house was built and sold. It's been that long, right? So who's gonna pay for that now that we didn't hold Lennar accountable to come back and fix the streets, to fix the sidewalks? The taxpayers are, right? So I think it just comes all back to that
Can't
account.
remember, is Lennar are those public roads or?
They are, yeah. And we can have Aaron follow up with you. He can
Yeah.
talk through our
Tell the
walkthrough
city was
process.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, I have. Yeah.
Mr. Michaels, thank you. For
Thank
your
you so
time.
much, I appreciate all you guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Anybody else like to come up, please? Please state your name and address.
Mark Williams, 1354 Chestnut Circle. I have some issues with the past building you guys are building, with the trees, taking everything out. You guys seem a little flippant about it. Like, oh, it's a little bit of light in your backyard. Oh, they're gonna come down the road, there's gonna be a little bit of light. No, it's not, it's a lot of light. You guys don't have to live there. I have to. And we had 20-foot tall trees, and all of a sudden they're zoned to where they can build right up to the property line. Where's the setback? They would never would have had to touch those trees.
Their setback.
Yes,
Supposed
and
to
the
be
buildings both meet it.
It's supposed to be like a 5-foot, 10-foot setback, but they're putting their grid to where it's coming right to the property line to build their retaining wall. This is what I got from the builders, the guys out there, construction guys. So they would never have had to rip those trees down if they had to build off the setback, but yet they still tore everyone off right up to the line. Why, and what trees are you gonna replace them with? Little, peanut Christmas trees, or what kind of trees are we gonna get? Is that you? Somebody?
So it's 34 overstory trees. Chris. Thanks. So it's 34 overstory trees. We have requirements in the city code based on size when they're planted. So you're right, they are going to be small trees that will take some time, but eventually they will grow into overstory trees.
Before you guys ripped the trees down, I couldn't hear anything over there. Now I can hear a pin drop. I can hear somebody sneeze in their apartment building. And now I'm gonna have a building that's gonna be like 30 feet off my property line. I don't know how many feet tall. There'll be lots of people sneezing. And I just don't understand why you had to move that drainage ditch to put this retaining wall in that we can't see anyway. And now we have no cover. And now we're gonna have lights everywhere. It just seems to me, I've never been to one of these, but you guys seem a little flippant about it. And it's frustrating as a homeowner.
I'm sorry,
You
I-
laughed, you giggled, oh, a little bit of lights. I was back there, and you're doing
Okay.
it again. It's so
Well-
freaking frustrating.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to belittle your concerns. I guess, I don't think I was laughing because I thought it was funny. I mean, it is what it is, but here's the thing. We have a developer who is developing their piece of property within the city standards. And, I'm just curious how much light there could be.
Well, look at that road. You say the road is, they're coming in this way, so you're not gonna get any lights. What about the traffic coming back this way? And you're the last two houses on the end there, and you have no cover. I don't live in those two houses. I live further down, closer by Chris, but for those neighbors, I mean, they're gonna be coming out this way.
You guys are invited to come over to my house and sit on my deck anytime you want to see.
I'm taking your word
Chris,
for it.
I'm gonna
I
ask
can
that
see
you
the light bothers
don't
you
participate
guys.
right now.
Well, I mean, why couldn't that have been in the plan? Like just a wall, some sort of wall where the light from the cars coming this way to,
Who wants to take that one? That question?
We both probably can. The elevation of the project made it tricky. This project sits higher than Oak Tree does.
Uh-huh.
So the wall likely wouldn't have made that much of an impact with the height difference between where this building will be compared to the houses on Chestnut Circle.
Okay.
So the driveway's lower or higher?
The entire site is higher.
Higher. So the lights are gonna shine
Right, into
into,
living
probably
rooms.
right into their windows,
yeah.
right?
And I'll also say Carver Place, the building, we finessed that site a lot to make it so the parking lot would not impact their backyards. So Carver Place, there won't be impact because there's a building there. There will be no cars turning in or out around that facility.
Oh, okay.
But there's a glaring problem there with your road, with the houses that are there currently. And again, it's not my house that's gonna be affected by that. Mine's affected by the monstrosity, which no tree is gonna cover within 20 years of my lifetime, but just the noise, there's gonna be 60, 70, 80 people now 30 feet out of my backyard.
When did you buy your property?
5 years ago.
Did you know that these buildings were going in?
I knew that they were a possibility of going.
Okay.
Yes, I did know that.
Just curious.
But they told me that water area was not ever gonna be touched. That
Retention pond?
That retention pond,
Can I ask who told you that?
Lennar. Because I couldn't build anything in that gully, and that thing was gonna stay, we couldn't touch anything around there. So, again, in the wintertime, the trees it's bare, I'll be able to see over there, I granted that. But in the summertime, it's nice to have that buffer, but now I'm gonna have 60, 80, 100 people sitting out there, walking around, doing whatever, and it's a noise, it's noise.
I'll also mention that Carver Place doesn't have balconies on the back. So I don't anticipate a lot of people will be on the rear side of the building.
And are they maintaining that back there? Can I plant 100 abrevieties trees and to block out that area?
If it's on your property, yeah.
It just seems frustrating the way that happened with this, why they had to cut back so far to get their retaining wall in, when I can't even build within 5 feet of my property line. So, that's it.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Williams. Anybody else want to make a comment or suggestion,
I'll comment.
or Jerry?
I don't wanna go up there.
You have to.
Sorry, you have to.
I have to.
Yes, you do.
I just wanna compliment you. I'm Jerry Renner, 810 Gilfillan. I was at that original meeting where all this started, and I just wanna say thank you. Thank you for the affordable housing and the senior housing. Because that's where I'm gonna go and my kids.
Great. Thank you so much, Jerry.
Sorry for making you come up.
Anybody else from the public like to comment? Keep it open, or
That's you.
you guys want it to stay open, or can we
We can
close and
we can-
discuss?
We can close and discuss.
All right. Can I get a motion to close this public hearing?
Motion to close.
Motion by Billy, is there a second?
I'll second.
By Jim, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The public hearing is now closed, and comments, questions, concerns from the board.
When we connect into that path, is that a bunch of stairs or is it like a slope?
So the trail moving north
Yeah.
is just a trail.
Oh, it's not like a hill or anything to get up. Oh, okay.
There's going to be a slight
I thought
incline, but it's not
one of the
stairs.
pictures showed it looking like stairs, and I was like, that's an interesting choice off of an older people home. Okay.
So first of all, thank you for your comments. I am a rookie sitting up here, so I'm just a few months in, and I really appreciate the perspective you shared. It's gonna help me in the future, certainly, so thank you for taking the time. But I do have a couple questions. How did we end up with the entrance and exit for the parking garage on that side versus the other end when there was a street there already?
I'm gonna ask you two to join. Jorgen, you wanna come up too? Aaron?
You guys said it.
I'm sending it to everyone but
I have a hunch that
me.
question has been asked
Yeah.
before, and you're ready to answer.
If I may, just initially, that
Please.
secondary entrance that is being added, oh, my apologies. Steve Dunbar with Ivy Properties, working with the CDA. That secondary entrance, I believe, was understood in the 2012 traffic study that was done in this area. And adding these facilities increased that traffic flow, requiring the secondary entrance. Due to the grading of the sites, that is where the entrance points for both garages made the most sense to identify, because they slope down towards where that wetland is. That wetland is currently being enhanced. It is not going away, it is being enhanced to be a larger retainage area.
So the 2012 traffic study that was completed called for a second entrance into the site.
Yeah.
So looking at that review, the first is obviously north. The second, we have some spacing guidelines that pushed it as far south as possible. So that makes it the second access point.
And then so to the lighting comments that were made of people at night driving out of the garage, those headlights are gonna go right into the back of those homes. So is there consideration on how to buffer that? Because on this plan, I don't see any landscaping on the opposite side of the street. It's the drain area, right?
Correct.
So are you able to put any,
If
Over
I
there?
may, oh, sorry, and Jorgen can speak to it better than I can, but I do believe, which unfortunately we don't have in front of us at the moment, but the landscape plan for Carver Place did plan for shrubbery to protect that. And so in the Carver Place landscape plan, that was a consideration. Another consideration in regards to Carver Place, in regards to no balconies on that backside, all egress and stair towers is forced to the north, so no residents step to the back because of that additional retainage area. So all the activities is forced to the north of that site in an effort to be respectful to our neighbors in that instance. But Jordan,
Yeah,
if you want.
Aaron, we don't have the Carver Place landscape plan. Okay.
We can
I
vamp,
believe
but,
we've
yeah.
worked to kind of protect whatever existing vegetation we could back there. That was one comment we worked through with Aaron in planning it. And then the landscape plan does call for, as Aaron said, many additional trees that will grow up along the border with the single-family homes to the south. To Steve's point, also, the building doesn't have any building-mounted lighting or anything on that south side, so it's not like you're gonna get spillover artificial lighting.
Just
the
from
building.
cars and,
Yeah, and just for the cars is for a brief moment as they drive down the driveway or exit
Right.
the garage, but
what is the elevation drop from your property line to the neighbors to the south?
it's quite a bit over.
How many feet?
Over a small area. I want to say over 12 plus feet.
Oh,
Over not that wide of a space, so it's significant.
yeah, that is.
And if,
Oh, okay.
and if we could, I,
cause
do you
I'm
want to touch
sorry,
on the
can you
stairs?
just, so you said 12 feet, is it, when you're exiting out of the garage, is it 12 feet down?
No,
No.
no, from the Carver Oaks that we're talking about now, no.
Okay.
That's on the low corner in the south.
So coming out of the garage, it's relatively flat.
Yeah.
Between the two sites, it's 12 feet.
Okay.
Part of it is the oak tree backyard slope down as well.
Okay, so this shows planting of something. But if we follow the exact planting location, it doesn't line up very nicely with the driveway coming out. Right? So if this is true, the scale of how it's plotted, I'd like to see trees as they're coming out of that garage, trees exactly lined up to that garage.
Sure.
Right? Right now, the headlights would shoot between the trees.
Let's-
Well, I don't know.
They'll probably
If it's-
still
yeah.
shoot between the trees. What about some sort of bush, like lilac, something that goes taller?
Something, yeah.
So we can absolutely finesse that landscape plan. It gives us the number that we need and the general location.
Because,
I'll-
well, what I'm thinking is the headlights, if it's, say, flat going from the exit of the garage to the neighbors to the south, any kind of 4 to 5 foot bush will block the headlights.
I'll also say along that property line gets really tight with a retaining wall and a pond. So I can say tonight, we will do our best to block as much of that as we can. But if we go in and try to field fit I can't guarantee that we will block that entire area. There's a retaining wall there, the pond picks up pretty quickly. But we can absolutely commit to being out there during plantings to try to accomplish what we can.
Okay.
But you said that when they considered building a fence, that wouldn't do much, right?
So
that?
the fence idea was when the parking lot was going directly into Oak Tree.
Okay.
So we flipped the building, so I would say
Okay.
the building is operating as that block now.
Got it. And it sounds like a lot of the frustration is with the current light that comes in from building 2
Building 1.
or building
Building
1.
one.
So when they put in the landscaping, is it just that the landscaping for both buildings will be done at the same time? So that landscaping is missing today?
No, it's that the parking lot doesn't have a significant landscape buffer between Carver Crossing, which sits up higher than Oak Tree. So there's not a buffer between the parking lot and their property right now. There is some landscaping. It's not mature. I don't think even mature overstory trees would block all of the light from that site because it's a well-lit parking lot for safety. So the addition of the Carver Place building creates that barrier
Okay.
that will be the barrier between the light and their houses.
I think that I encourage you guys to pay attention to the landscaping and take advantage of anything we can to help lessen the brunt of the lighting. I would tend to kind of agree that, you know, if I lived right there and with the grating and headlights coming out of a garage at night shining in my bedroom, that would be the back of the house, which is where the bedrooms are. It's a good valid point.
Anybody else?
I have a couple questions. And I think this is just comparing the new building that's going in versus all three of them. Some of them are referred to as low income, some of them are for affordable housing. Is it the same thing?
Allison, would you like to answer that question?
Housing tax credit buildings, so they're all the same type of affordable housing. My personal preference would be to call them affordable housing and not low income. I think in people's minds, there's a much different connotation when you say low income versus affordable. Carver Crossings, the current building that is there, targets households at or below 60% of area median income, as well as Carver Place. And then there are some units that further income restrict, and both have some subsidized units. And then Carver Oaks, which is still a low-income housing tax credit project, just because it targets seniors, it's a little bit lower of an income because that allows us to have lower rents, because a lot of seniors, are living on a fixed income.
Your letter specifically says low income, that's why I was asking.
Which letter?
I don't know, it's dated, you're Allison, right?
I think the narrative is
Oh.
what you're looking at.
That's why I was questioning.
But yes, they are, it's
They're
the same thing.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the no balconies is on the second and third building, but it is on the first building. My parents are old, they like flowers, like balconies might not be in the building, but can they have flowers someplace else?
There will be community gardens
Okay,
for all three buildings.
Okay.
So there is some on the site right now, and then with the addition of both of our buildings, we're adding in more.
perfect. And then, again, comparing all the buildings, is it normally one parking space per unit?
Yes,
That's-
every unit will have one parking space included in the garage for free.
Okay. It just seems that, yes, it meets the requirements for parking, but if you have a two-bedroom unit, I don't know, do they both have cars and then they're senior housing, elder, whatever you want to call it? So then you have family visiting, is it, what was it, like 15 extra spaces, is that enough? Yes, it meets a minimum, but
I can just tell you based on our experience, so we have 3 other senior buildings. So the one that has the smallest parking lot is Crossings at Town Center, Maconia, and it has maybe 15. It's rare, it's never full by residents. We have a couple residents because parking is not free there that park outside, but we don't ever have an issue with parking at any of our senior sites. And even at our newest building, Trails Edge South in Maconia, that's also a low-income housing tax credit project. It's 60 units, and we have maybe 8 to 10 residents that, extra cars that aren't in the
Okay.
ones that are down in the garage already that park out in the parking lot.
Okay, and I mean, there is other parking available also. Thank you.
I had the same question, was 15 going to be enough?
Oh, and my other comment was that all of our, we barely, I mean, we have less than a handful. We have 68 units in Chanhassen, 65, 68 Maconia, and 50 in Oak Grove, and we have probably less than 5 residents that have 2 cars.
I'm going to remind my parents of that if they get older.
Tell them you heard it from the
Yeah.
source.
And then this isn't like Carver Ridge senior living, that's not senior living, that's assisted.
Assisted living and memory care.
Okay, so that's not this. We aren't gonna have staff 24/7.
No, residents are allowed to bring in services if they want, but we don't provide services. The only service we'll provide is a resident service coordinator that helps coordinate connecting residents to resources, but not any type of services none will be provided by us.
Are all these secure buildings?
They are. We have cameras and controlled access, so residents can buzz in people from their phone, and then they all have fobs on them, so that if somebody loses their fob, we can just shut the fob off and not have to worry about a key being lost somewhere.
Okay. Anybody else? If not, could I get a motion to close the public, oh, we did that.
We already did that.
Can we get a motion to approve the preliminary plat for Carver Oaks?
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary plat.
I'm gonna pause and Sherry, if you want to add something about,
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the feedback garnered that we're paying attention to the
Landscape?
landscaping to help with the light pollution concerns we discussed.
Hey, we have a motion. Is there
I'll second.
motion by Sherry, second by Jim? Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries.
thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Okay. What the heck? Why are there so many motions on here?
I know. Wait, what's
Open a
that
public
one?
hearing again, don't we?
You have another public hearing.
Well, underneath,
Go to back to page 1.
This is for United Properties.
yeah, should just go with the regular. Okay, let's go to 4.2, United Properties, Carver Commons, public hearing, preliminary and final plat. Aaron, do you want to tell us anything?
I do.
Okay.
You're welcome to stay if you want, but we're moving on to other topics that,
tire shop?
eventually.
That's next
Yeah.
one.
Okay, sounds good. You're welcome to stay. But people are sometimes a little surprised when we keep rolling, so. Alrighty, let's talk about United Properties. So the first request that's before you tonight is a preliminary plat and final plat request from United Properties. Members of the development team and the engineering firm are here. They'll participate similarly as part of the discussion. So this is a unique process that United Properties is, rezoning is not required. It's owned in the Freeway Commercial District. What we're attempting to do here is create a lot and have United Properties install infrastructure. So I'll keep talking about that as we go through. So I'll give a quick presentation, open public hearing, rinse, repeat what we just did with Carver Oaks, but some new players in the game for a different project. So again, it's United Properties, a preliminary plat and final plat request by the Planning Commission. So United Properties owns the property at the corner of Highway 212 and Jonathan Carver Parkway. They have for many decades. So it's called Carver Commons. The review tonight of the project is to create a lot that United Properties would be able to sell to an end user. So they will also construct utilities. So United Properties is saying, we will construct the street, we will put in the pipe, the water main, et cetera, so then we can sell pretty much a development-ready lot to an end user. So the request tonight is to have United Properties do that infrastructure and create that lot 1, block 1, that is on the final. So an overview of what is left on the site. So lot 1, block 1 is what we're talking about tonight. So that is the preliminary plat and final plat you're looking at. There are additional sites on the United Properties or the Carver Commons sites that are developable. So you'll see Outlot B is not developable. That is the pond of all ponds. It takes water from so many projects, but it's an area that is not developable. It takes water from JCP, it takes it from the site, it takes city water. There are areas that still continue to be developable. So there's a small outlot just east of Next Steps Learning Center. There's a larger lot that goes east-west just south of the proposed street. And then Outlot A is a pretty large developable area that United Properties will continue to work on for an end user. So as part of the infrastructure that United Properties is proposing is the slip right into the Carver Commons site will be constructed. So you can see along JCP, we contemplated this as part of that street project. You can see where the turn lane is already there. So next time you're driving south on JCP, take a look, get a feeling of where it's going to be, where it's going to connect into that site with the gray here. So this is the slip right where it will enter. So there's not a ton of detail with his request because they are not proposing the building. The Les Schwab application site plan is the next application, but tonight for United Properties is the installation of infrastructure and creating Lot 1, Block 1 that could be sold to an end user. So Tom, Sherry, do you want to come up and introduce yourselves or just tell them?
Good evening. Thank you, Aaron. Tom Strom with United Properties. I don't remember the address offhand, but yeah, so here to kind of field any questions, but I think we're excited to kind of extend the streets and hopefully that'll, next summer kick off a lot of other interest in the site. So if there's any questions or public comments. I don't know.
I'll just stay there in case anybody in the public has questions. So let's open the public hearing for United Properties Carver Commons preliminary and final plat. Can I get a motion?
Motion to open.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing open. We have to do two different public hearings, one for the preliminary, one for the.
Final plat doesn't have a public hearing.
Good to know. Okay, anybody in the public have any questions, comments, concerns? Okay. Board? Comments, questions, concerns?
I have a question. It was either on this packet or the Les Schwab one. One of them said that Outlot C, maybe, isn't United Properties? Are they all owned by the same people?
Yes. So United Properties owns the remainder of the site right now.
Okay,
So Outlot A, Outlot B, Lot 1, Block 1 at this moment, Outlot C, and then there's a small outlot right here.
okay.
So we work really closely with United Properties. When I get a call from someone saying, hey, I want to start a business in Carver, where's property, who can I talk to? I send them straight to Tom, they talk about the site, that's how we come in with the end users.
So all remaining undeveloped land we still own.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember when this was where the auto place was, yeah. And Next Steps came, and they had said if there was a road there, we would have built there. But there wasn't a road and it's expensive, so to me, putting a road in makes a lot of sense because it opens us up to a lot more business opportunities.
Plus it gets you to that Mocha Monkey faster.
Amen.
Aaron,
Yeah.
did you just, so the road is a private road, right?
Yes, all streets within Carver Commons are private.
So then they're not plowed by the city, they're managed by all the property owners, right? Have like.
Correct.
Equivalent of a HOA, a commercial. Okay.
What's it called? Oh.
So does who plows the turn lane then?
That's part of.
That's the county.
That's JPC.
Correct.
Yeah.
Then who picks up when it turns in? Does the county just dump it and just keep going?
Probably, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So we've been talking a lot.
Nice as the city.
We've been talking a lot at a staff level about the trail system throughout this site. Like, trails are obviously important to all of us, so the city is going to maintain a majority of the trails in the site just to make sure they get plowed quickly in a timely manner. So it'll be a little different that they'll maintain the streets. A majority of the trail will be maintained by the city. And frankly, the city will be near and adjacent to this site. We plow along Monroe, we plow along JCP, so hopefully cruising through the site is pretty straightforward for us then too.
Usually the plow drive is coming to agreements too. I'll do your part and you do my part.
Yeah, for sure, that's true.
I just stand. I mean, I remember reviewing this, you were here last time, and I have no objections to this. I think this is a great move, and it's gonna get us something else in the city, so
Agreed.
I have no concerns.
Anybody else? Okay. In that case, shall we close the public hearing? Can we get a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. Further discussion? None? Okay, then can I get a motion to approve preliminary plat for Carver Commons?
Make a motion.
Krista makes a motion, there's a second?
Second.
Billy seconds. Any further discussion? None, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then we have another motion for final plat for Carver Commons. Can I get a motion?
Motion to discuss, whatever I'm.
Recommending approval of final plat.
Yeah, that. Recommending approval.
For final plat for Carver Commons?
Yep.
I'll second.
Motion by Billy, second by Krista. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Let's go to number 5, the Schwab site.
Think so.
If we need it.
I told him we would, but let's see if we need him. I think he's watching.
Thank you.
Okay, let's keep rocking and rolling. So, moving on, we are reviewing site plan for Les Schwab, which is the proposed user for the lot that you just made motions for to create the Lot 1, Block 1, that United Properties can sell to an end user. So again, we're continuing to talk about Carver Commons at the corner of 212 and JCP. You can see circled on the left in our comp plan, it is red. Red means commercial, so all of these projects are meeting the general intent of the comp plan with further review by staff, planning commission, city council, et cetera. So the site-specific information is that it's guided commercial in the comprehensive plan. It's zoned freeway commercial, and Les Schwab is a permitted use in that district. So I know that we had some back and forth about what can be approved in that project, what does it need to look like, et cetera. So I have some exciting updates for you as we move through the information. So utilities are available. I know, I knew someone was gonna say that. In Monroe Drive and in the private streets, and then access to the site properties. So again, here's the plat that you just reviewed. Lot 1, Block 1 is the proposed site for the Les Schwab Center. Again, circled on the map so you can get a feel of where we're at. So you enter the site on Monroe, either in the slip right or the full access, which is further west, and then the full intersection that's a little bit further west starts to feel a little bit more like a street since it connects up to JCP and offers connection to a couple more users. So there will be infrastructure throughout to allow for users to hit Lot 1, Block 1, and additional users that come to the site. So Les Schwab is a tires, brakes, wheels, alignments, battery, et cetera, automobile business. They are hitting the Minnesota market really hard. So there's projects kind of popping up all over the greater metro area. Moorhead is not part of our greater metro area. Neither is Worthington. But Apple Valley and Otsego are, and then Hutchinson is kind of neighbor to Carver. Yeah. The proposed building is 10,798 square feet, and there are proposed 38 parking stalls, which meets the intent of the city code. There have been some significant changes from the time that the Planning Commission and City Council most recently reviewed. So here are proposed renderings that staff and the development team worked on together. I have a whole list of them on an upcoming slide. Okay, I'm gonna talk through them and then we can go through slower. So updates to the building design, the building colors were updated. The roof line was updated. There's increased front facade windows. The canopy along JCP is now fully enclosed. That was a really big concern with noise for neighbors on Spring Creek Drive. Tire and trash enclosures have been increased from fence to block material, so it'll match the building. And the block is now proposed to be a brick facade as the building material, and there's a really generous landscape plan that's included as part of the review tonight. So you can see the top is the original submittal, the bottom is proposed, so you can see the color change, the roof line change, the increase to the windows. You'll also see windows along the back side of the building, along JCP, to make it feel a little more lower scale commercial than just a typical block building would. So building material change, and then those windows were additionally added to the rear of the building. And I think the biggest change from original to now proposed is the enclosure of that canopy. So no work will be completed outdoors with the updated renderings. So here's that side view. So top again is the canopy when it was open with first proposal. Bottom is what is being proposed now. So you'll see additional windows being added to the building, as well as full enclosure of the canopy. I also say the roof line pretty drastically changes between the two, so it goes from a flat top building to at an angle, which also provides additional screening to rooftop equipment on the building. So some additional details about the site. So the left is the interior of the building. The right is again a photometric plan that shows light leaving the site, so everything checks out with photometrics on this site as well. So it's measured in something silly called foot candles that shows the amount of lumens leaving a site. This site is not proposed to have light leave the site from the building. So again, interior, and then the photometric plan. They are proposing a really generous landscape plan. So I was even surprised by the amount of landscaping that they're proposing. So you'll see the trash and tire enclosure along the north side of the building is really densely landscaped. So not only did they increase building material from fence to block, they're also proposing 6 conifer trees, 12 overstory trees, 12 understory trees, 229 deciduous shrubs, 71 coniferous shrubs, and then 123 perennials. So the site will be really heavily landscaped, which I think will offer different views along JCP. So you can see on some of the proposals, they have a really dense landscape plan surrounding the entire building.
That's nice.
So again, Les Schwab is a permitted user in the Freeway Commercial District, which this project is zoned. So they are a by right user, so there's not a rezoning that is required. Tonight, the Planning Commission is moving forward with a site plan review. I've mentioned a couple times throughout just conversation with United Properties that trail into the site has become a focus for city staff, just wanting to make sure that there's connection, not only for existing businesses, but also future. So on the screen now is a markup of how we foresee the trail connection coming in. So obviously with the outlet that runs east-west, we're not sure what that user will be. So we don't want to commit a trail going through that site by any means, just because we don't want to limit construction type that can be there. But I just want you to be aware that we are being really thoughtful about trail connection here. So if you drop off your car to get an oil change, you can easily get to Mocha Monkey or Quick Trip to do some work if you want to. So that's why we have tonight for the site plan. Ron with Cushing Terrell, which is the group that's proposing this project, is on standby if we have any questions specifically for them. Otherwise, we'll open it up for discussion on the site plan.
I think it's great how the developer worked with the city to meet the requirements that we had, that they were willing to adjust. I like the landscaping plan. My only concern is upkeep. Once it's planted, it's good, but who's gonna keep it up? You could have a mechanic come out and change a tire and then pick a weed. I mean, that's my only concern.
They'll probably
Aaron, will you-
contract landscapers.
Will you talk a little bit about warranty bond that we hold for landscaping, or that we will for this project?
Yeah, so we have a 2-year warranty bond for the improvements, so during that warranty period, that would include plantings as well, so that'll obviously get us through the plant establishment period. But to your point, Krista, like after the 2-year warranty is up, that would fall on the property owner to maintain, so.
I do wonder though if,
Is this gonna be irrigated?
maybe, but since they will have like an HOA for commercial, next steps, Quick Trip, and start talking about a landscape contract that could maybe cover the whole site. It's the same for Hometown Bank. They have a really robust landscape plan. They did a beautiful job. I don't suspect that personal bankers are gonna zip out on their lunch break to pick weeds, so I suspect they have a plan, and we can get those two groups together to talk about what their plans are for landscape.
And if it does look poor, the city can go back even after the 2 years?
We can, we likely wouldn't be able to have them like reinstall a large swath of plants, but the 2-year timeline is generally pretty good for trees to establish. So if within that 2-year time we notice that trees are struggling or plants are struggling, we can have them come back and replant.
I think in general, you find if business is good, the place will look good. If business is bad, it won't. There's nothing really you can do about that.
I have some questions. Yes. The bottom left picture, the roof on the right, so I guess that's not it's the building roof. It's white. Is that just an error on the drawing?
I'm gonna suspect yes, that is just showing that the
It
angle
should
of
be
the roof,
filled
it
in,
won't be
right?
open,
Like on
yeah.
the other side, it should be filled in. We're not gonna like see through the angled roof.
No, it's not a drive-through on the roof.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
We'll let the birds do.
Yeah, it's a drawing error. Okay. And then on the back side, it's windows. There's no garage doors, right?
Correct.
Okay, I think that's different.
So
Was
there's
that different from the original?
garages on the canopy. So the bottom here shows, this is the canopy. So there will be garage doors here and here,
Yeah,
but not on the back of the building.
okay. I like that addition of the windows, even if they're fake windows, but they look like windows on the outside, it dresses the building up. I think that they've done a great job of hearing our concerns. They enclosed the canopy, which was a worrisome to me. All of the sound, since there's nothing that opens on that back side, the sound's going the other way, which now is a vacant lot, but someday maybe something. I can't say no to this type of business coming to Carver. I'm just really worried about if they're gonna make it. And then what happens if they don't? Because we have pockets of these types of companies. There's one in Chaska that has changed hands 3 times, and if you drive by it
We
right
don't
now-
actually, I don't think this is gonna make it
Yeah,
here. We've
I'm
already
just-
got a tire center at Fleet Farm. You know, if this company wants to build and they're, you know, abiding by all the rules and regulations.
That's right.
We just have to say, go for it.
Yeah,
And if it doesn't make it, it's a pretty nice looking building. Maybe they sell it and move on. Hopefully they make it. I mean,
I hope
we
they
want
do.
everybody to succeed.
yeah.
So, and then I hope that like a new tire store brings a grocery store.
Same, yeah, we all do, we're all in that camp.
Please,
Could be tires and groceries.
yeah. I know, I always go grocery shopping when I'm having my tires worked on.
I really like the landscaping. I think they did a great job. I know we talked a lot about that, where the spent tires go, that bullpen. And, you know, that kind of being the first thing you see. And that's been buffered, so.
And made of brick, I really like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I feel like you guys have done a great job of listening to the concerns and making it appealing.
Yeah, I think so
Which
too.
was the concern.
I agree entirely.
Was that a pun?
Entirely.
Entirely.
Oh, yeah. No, it wasn't. That was, I don't know why I said that. Anybody else? Have comments, questions, concerns?
I just have one procedural question. So, given my background, has the fire department looked through this and like they're okay with the swings and access to the building? Because it looks so tight.
Jared, our fire marshal, and Callie, the fire chief, have the plans, yeah.
They did?
Mhm.
Okay. Not gonna overrule that. It just looks so tight, but
I think Mocha Monkey's tight too, but I was just super excited to get coffee one morning.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
There was a lot of cars in my way.
Anyway,
okay.
okay. If everybody feels comfortable, I would like somebody to make a motion to approve the site plan. for-
Jerry, they do have a plan.
Excuse me, did you want to speak?
Yeah, they do have a picture of a truck driving through the.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I did see that. It's hard to like follow the lines because the lines take you through the building.
Sure, like truck access.
Yeah, which has made me think, does it really work there?
I thought it was going into that outside stall. That extended bay.
It has to go around.
Oh,
It has to make a circle. And you look at these lines, there's no clear path. I mean, they need the whole parking lot, which is why I began to think if a semi truck struggles, a fire truck is smaller and shorter. But when you get ladders in there and multiple fire trucks, now you're,
driving on the grass.
and they sink. They're heavy.
Well,
But that's for
we've
the fire
had-
department to solve.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they've approved it, so
Yeah,
they must
that's
think
why I
they
asked
can
the
do it.
question, yeah. It's for the fire department to solve.
They probably figured they'll get a discount on their tires.
Okay, can I get this motion, and then if we have further discussion, we'll discuss more, and then we'll vote on it. How's that? Motion to approve the site plan for Les Schwab.
I'll make a motion to approve the site plan.
Thank you, Sherry. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, now, any further discussion?
You doing timelines, Erin? When does it
Yes,
go to-
I think they're wanting, it's going to city council in October. Tom, can you share your timeline for infrastructure start?
I'm sorry.
When will you start infrastructure construction?
When, as soon as road restrictions are lifted, so
March, April.
Oh, okay.
And it'll be completed,
midsummer.
okay?
So for those maybe watching online, construction start once road restrictions lift in the spring, which is typically March, April, with midsummer open.
Road open.
Sorry.
Road.
Yes, that's true. It's one more year after that for Les Schwab. Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
But we'll get that right in. It's gonna be great.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And opposed? None. Motion carries. Now let's go to
The fun stuff.
zoning ordinances.
Thanks, Tom and Sherry.
Thank you.
I feel like
Are you
we've been
leaving
looking-
again, Erin? Is it your birthday again?
Yeah, really.
Erin's so nice, she's gonna let me go.
I told him I could. Should we get going? Should I tell you what we're doing?
Yeah, go,
Yeah.
let's
Okay.
go.
So it has felt like we are,
Because you have 19 minutes
until what?
until this meeting will be ended.
Okay, great, okay. We have been doing such great work on the zoning code, so this felt like a really natural spot to combine everything that we've been working on. I know the formatting is a disaster. I'll be the first one to say it. I'll also say my past self was not kind to myself this past week, and I didn't do the editing really well the first time. So I had to rewatch all of our meetings and retype everything. Natalie saw me on Friday when I was putting the packet together, and I could no longer form sentences by the end of it because it was a little rough. But this is the next draft of sections 1 through 50 through 1 through 70, which you have reviewed so far. So this is the cleaned up version that I'm hoping to work through tonight. If you have questions, comments, feedback, just don't comment on the formatting because I know it's bad. But let's stick to content.
Who's gonna
only.
fix that?
Who's gonna do such a good job?
What did the yellow highlights mean?
So those are spots where I'm still thinking through a couple more details and was looking for some feedback from you all.
Oh, that's what those meant.
I know, I should have,
Reference.
but I
Guess I should have printed this in color.
was unwell by the end of it. But do you want me to scroll to the highlighted portions? We can
Yeah,
start there?
that's a good idea.
Okay.
Can I,
Did we already agree on everything else?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Unless somebody has an issue with something we've already agreed on.
I had a couple of random comments, but that's,
Yeah, that's fine, I expect that.
Okay, I'm gonna work through the highlights, and then Sherry, I'll take some of your feedback if that works. Okay. The area of sign, we're working on the sign code with the city council pretty heavily. So the area of sign is something that we were talking about. Is the area just the area where the words are? Is it the whole monument sign? So that was a highlight for me to remember to go back to. You don't have to think about that one right now.
think it's the whole sign, just so you know.
What's that?
It encompasses the whole.
We go the other way in our zoning code. Bulk regulations, I want to think about this definition a little bit differently, so it's things like setbacks, height of building, et cetera. I'm hoping there's a better word than bulk regulations, because I don't think people naturally know what that means,
No, it doesn't.
to figure out the setback of a
Sounds like you're
building.
at a co-op.
A co-op, getting bulk goods. That's 2. This one, I want to add that you are able to construct the structure back in the original location, but you cannot make a non-conforming worse. So if you had a garage on your property line in the historic district and it burned down, according to our zoning code, you probably wouldn't be able to build it. But if you're using the same area and the same foundation, I want to include that it can continue to be non-conforming.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to add some additional information there.
Okay, while you're on that one,
Yeah.
why do all a definition, it's the definition, and then it said will mean, they all say will mean.
You're right.
But the one that you have in yellow is actually a definition-ish.
Okay, so you don't want the will mean.
Well, it's like you say it and then you say it again. And yes, you know it's gonna mean that because it's the definition.
Great,
So it should say
let's take them out.
non-conforming sign is a sign erected or otherwise, it's gonna be paid.
Okay, let's do it. Sign information is likely going to change, so it's just the section of that sign
Okay.
as the city council continues to work through it. We talked about this a little bit at the planning commission level, so this is for variances, I think. Conditional use permits. So if the city council denies a conditional use permit, an application for the same property or same type of use may not be resubmitted for 1 year, and that's the direction we wanted to go, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. This is state statute, so I was just gonna link to the state statute.
Okay.
Ooh, that formatting was just so bad. This is a conversation that we had at the most recent planning commission meeting. I want to run it by the city attorney. He drafted this ordinance to see if his intent would be if during the review of a sidewalk cafe permit, if the building can continue to operate. I'm starting to lean towards no, because if it's something that we wanted them to change, it likely would be something pretty impactful that they are in violation of the ordinance. So I'm gonna talk to the city attorney about that one, but we talked about it for a while. This is a new district, so it's highlighted because we'll need to number it. I don't know how it works that we want to have conditional use permits here, but we might want to keep it reserved, but I don't know how that works. So that was just a note for me to think about that one.
I would think you would want an option.
Yeah, for sure, but I don't know if we just type reserved there or if we just.
No, I mean, going back to the previous one.
Oh,
I mean, if it's something minor,
if it's something minor, I don't think we would revoke their sidewalk cafe permit. I think we would say to them, we need you to fix X, Y, Z. But if it's something major enough to revoke their permit, I'm gonna guess it's not a safe operating condition.
I'm trying to,
You do say may, so that doesn't mean.
Yeah, well,
So more to come on that. The city attorney might have
Yeah.
a large conversation with me about why it's important or why it's not. So we don't need to think about that one necessarily.
city attorneys always have large.
lots of lectures.
We saw Larry Harris recently. It was so nice.
Yes, it was.
Just another section update that will be required. Gateway Commercial is the district that we talked about at our most recent meeting. Sherry, I know you listened to the meeting, which was great.
Did you have comments on that one?
Okay, let me keep going. And I'm gonna be a fool and I'm gonna go all the way back to the top. So, or do you just have Gateway Commercial comments?
No,
Just start wherever you start.
yeah, so, I'm in the downtown central business district.
What
Okay.
page number?
Well, the page numbers change
What?
because there was 3 sections I was working on. I'll find it. I know where we are. Okay, here I am.
Business 5064.
You can do a Control F.
There it is, right there.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
So in the document that you guys reviewed last month, you guys were debating a conversation around excluding in the intent pawn shops, firearm sales, payday loan agency, and current exchange. In the conversation, you agreed to leave it in, and then it's not here. So I was just curious. I know that it's showing up in conditional uses later on. So was that the final, was that guidance from?
So the conversation, we talked about it for a while, and then watching the meeting back, Cindy, we talked about asking the city council about it to see if they felt strongly about it.
Okay.
So that would be my intent.
Okay. All right.
But I'm going to suspect, personally, I don't think those are the best fit in the central business district. If you all feel differently and the city council feels differently, I
agree
will
with
go
you. I
along
don't
with
think so
you.
either.
But professionally, I don't think those are the best users in our central business
So
district.
you're gonna recommend to put them in the,
Elsewhere.
They're in the conditional
Chaska?
use.
What?
I think they're under industrial now, aren't they?
They're under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Industrial
Which seemed
and
weird to
commercial
me.
industrial.
Yeah,
Conditional use is where they show up.
And conditional use,
You need a permit.
correct. They are permitted users. It just gives us the opportunity to review them and set additional conditions. So it's not something where they can come in and say, I'm allowed under a conditional use. We don't say, no, you can't come here. We say, let's talk about it. Let's figure out hours of operations, truck traffic, lighting, et cetera. But if you feel strongly about it, you drive the ship.
They have to go somewhere.
I think in conditional use, it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
conditional use for the downtown business district
No.
or?
Industrial.
Industrial,
Correct.
commercial, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I don't know if you listened to the news tonight, but they were talking about St. Paul and their plans for,
Cannibalism. Was it? Wasn't it cannibalism?
What?
No.
Cannabis?
Yes.
That's definitely conditional use.
Yes.
That's allowed everywhere.
and they were gonna have a restriction of 1,000 feet from places, schools, library. Then they decided there would be no place in St. Paul.
Oh, interesting.
Places could be, so I think they're going with 300 feet.
So we're working really hard on that at a staff level. Right now, what we believe will happen is that it's going to be based on population. So right now, the proposed language from the state is that per 12,500 population, you can have one licensed business cannabis user. So for Carver, it would limit us to one user. So we want to be,
For a while.
for a while, yeah. So we want to be mindful about the group that is operating next door. They've been good and neighborly to us, so thinking about them. Also with our central business district, we have bars downtown that are relatively close to a daycare. So do we buffer similarly to a bar, a liquor store,
And daycare
cannabis?
used to be a liquor store.
Totally, yeah. So
But
there are
cannabis
layers.
is different than a liquor store to me because if somebody's drinking next to my kid, like, my kid can't smell it and take it in, but if somebody's smoking next to my kid, they can. So it doesn't feel the same to me.
And that's fine. That can absolutely be your opinion. We can work through it. I don't know where we're going to land yet.
Yeah.
We're working through a lot of those details.
Well,
Well, you can't smoke in the store.
No, I know, but if you're out, like, if you buy it there, you go out to the sidewalk, and you go out to the
kinda-
sidewalk,
I don't
and
think
you're
that'll be
next to
happening.
Next Steps or something.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be happening.
Really?
I know I'm not supposed to chime in, Aaron's gonna yell at me, but it's part of the state law that you can regulate, like where it can be
Yeah.
smoked and used.
Yeah.
So I can't just be across the street hitting my 12-foot
Right,
small
it's
ball.
just something that I feel like if we're gonna put conditions on it, I feel like it would be more than just population-based.
Yeah, and that's state right now.
Yeah, population basis for how many stores you can have in
Yeah.
the community.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I didn't mean to derail.
Well, we talked about cannibalism tonight, which feels like a new low.
It's not in the ordinance yet.
so in general,
Well, it's gonna be.
cannibalism isn't
No.
Okay.
But we are,
Let's roll along here. Keep it
Okay.
going.
we're anticipating
So-
cannabis will be before you in upcoming meetings.
Couple pages further down, under the commercial industrial district,
Yes.
there's this list, oh, one right
Yep.
there. Okay, so I went back to the meeting we had in April
Mm-hmm.
and compared the list, because the numbers didn't add up in my head. And so I noticed that lodging, hotel, motel users was added.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just calling that out for my peers, that it was
They
added.
slipped something in there?
They slipped something in there.
Do you disagree with it?
And didn't highlight it in yellow either.
Right.
And added a random period at the end.
Hey, I told you not to comment on that.
Aaron,
so-
we're watching you.
That was one. But the other one that caught my eye was number 2, which was the animal boarding facilities. You guys all remember the conversation we had about the size of the animal, was it gonna be domestic, farm? And I was expecting some kind of definition change
Sure.
there. And that, I don't see that in this version.
So thinking like domestic animal boarding?
Like dog,
Like not a zoo?
Domestic. Dog, cat.
Like they don't
yeah,
do
we don't want
animals.
horses,
Yeah.
cows. I remember that conversation with big
Yeah.
versus small.
I think the animal section of our city code covers it, but we can double dip and put it there too.
Yeah.
Do chickens count as domestic if we have the chicken ordinance?
No.
No, because you can't have a chicken inside because it's not a domestic pet.
Right.
So then it wouldn't be able to go to that vet though?
It's a
Go to-
boarding
go to
facility.
boarding
Board-
facility.
Oh, wait,
Has to stay
okay,
home.
yeah, sorry, ignore me.
You're good, Billy.
Okay.
I was,
You want to talk about cannibalism?
yeah,
All right, so then,
Take care.
I guess nobody's boarding their chickens, you're right.
You're right.
I thought under conditional uses, right there,
Mhm.
we were gonna add cannabis. I had that written down. But maybe we'll hit that when we go through it later.
Correct, yep.
Okay.
So I don't have, what section are we in right now?
We are
in the
under commercial
Commercial
industrial.
industrial.
Yep.
Which is where conditional uses, yeah, cannabis should be there, right?
I'm gonna suspect our city attorney will have a draft ordinance for us to review,
Okay.
that he'll have stronger feelings about it than I do.
Larry certainly would have.
Yeah.
What about payday loan and, is that also conditional use?
I just don't know if those are real anymore.
So,
Currency exchange?
Do you think they are?
We are in big cities for sure.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean,
Bail bond?
That's a
And I-
Chaska issue.
And we can add anything in here, it's just some of them felt, I don't wanna say they'll never happen in Carver, cause then we'll get an application for
so
one.
smoke shops, tobacco shops, laundromats, sexually oriented businesses.
Yep.
Are we gonna just leave them off the list and say, no, you can't come here?
Are they in the industrial district?
I don't know where this is, uses specifically excluded from Gateway,
Okay.
general.
we're not that far yet.
We aren't?
No,
We should be.
we're in commercial industrial.
Sorry.
Okay, I'm in industrial now. I have pawn shops, firearm sales, loan agency, and currency exchange permitted as a user there.
Oh, okay.
But I suspect we'll need to have sexually oriented businesses probably in there too.
So, okay, this is the perfect spot.
Look at that.
If you can just scroll up a little bit, under that accessory structure. So we talked about the principal structure and the minimum requirements, but the minimum language didn't make it down to the accessory structure. So it should say, minimum.
Oh, sure.
Interior
Yeah.
side property setback, and then it says rear property line, it should probably say, minimum
Rear
rear
setback.
property line setback. It's just not worded right. And then same with the minimum corner side property.
Or, oh, no, never mind.
Okay, and then public, so here's one observation that I had when I was flipping through all this. The definitions of commercial, industrial, commercial, public public open space, they don't match our comprehensive plan.
Right.
So I went through the commercial industrial and then I got to industrial and I'm like, what is the difference? And then as I started going through the rest of it, I started to lose track of where we're allowing things to happen and where they're conditional or they're not permitted at all.
Yep.
And in the residential area, we have this beautiful grid that outlines our 1, 2, 3, 4. It's mapped out kind of in an Excel grid. I think that would be very helpful
Okay.
with these different districts that we have. And you have everything down the left side and the districts.
Oh, I see,
over
like
to the
a
right, yes or no.
permitted, yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Does anyone else see this bug that is just pestering me right now?
No?
If you see me just swatting,
No?
know that
But
there's
I
something.
also think we should rename these sections to match the comprehensive plan definitions.
Yeah, because it is getting a little,
So I will say that probably isn't going to happen. So a commercial, something that's guided commercial in our comp plan is just red. But if when they come in for zoning, it could be freeway commercial, it could be gateway commercial, it could be general commercial. So we can't have all three of those districts on our comp plan. It's just commercial.
but on the map that we do with the color coding.
Yep.
That could have,
This.
yeah. Can't we, do we already, I think it's confusing.
So on that map, there's a dark purple, which is commercial/industrial, which we're writing as
Yep.
part of this update.
Right.
All of those commercial districts are red, so all of those would be the gateway commercial, the freeway commercial, the general commercial. We don't have straight industrial guided on our current comp plan. I'll also say we're gonna start our next comp plan in like a year, which is terrifying.
I think we do, don't we?
But the.
Not
but like
straight
Gateway
industrial,
Commercial
so that's
is-
Lakeview, it's existing.
Oh.
But Gateway Commercial is just down Jonathan Carver Parkway.
Correct, there's not a way to do that in our comp plan.
Okay, well,
We can't have separate zoning districts in our comp plan, it just is commercial.
Okay, but that's our comp plan map, but couldn't we have a map for ourselves?
Yeah, our zoning map for sure, yeah.
So it's just a little easier to figure out
Yeah.
where stuff can go and where it can't.
Yeah, and I don't want to like push this off, but part of it is the Met Council has adopted districts we can use. So they need to be uniform across the metro, so people can't have suddenly a brown and no one knows what the brown is, so. But I like your idea of the permitted use chart for like the
Yeah.
commercial districts. I'll
Me
make
too.
Natalie
That's a
format
great
it so it's
idea.
not a disaster.
I would include industrial in that.
Okay,
And then I think that then will lay it out in a way that's meaningful for us to say, yes, that makes sense, no, in this area it doesn't, or it's permitted here but conditional here.
yep.
All right, it's just too much to. And then, above the freeway commercial. Okay, go up a little bit. So right here, so in here, we're in public open space.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it's a copy paste thing that's going on, but in prior conversations and reviews, we struck out G and H.
G and H. We struck out one of them.
We struck out both, and then the community solar system I is what lived on. So
Is it under accessory permitted uses?
it was pulled out of industrial and commercial, but we're willing to have that in public space.
So,
That's where it was getting,
I just want to make sure I'm in, okay, commercial industrial.
we have it number 5.
Sure, yeah. I'm going to add the building mounted back in here. So that's on a roof.
Okay. All right, and then I know I missed the Gateway to Commercial District conversation, so I just had a couple of comments after
Yeah.
I listened to you guys. So when you were talking about the permitted uses, and the restaurants, and we have, I think there was, you guys were trying to figure out the brew pub.
Yeah,
Like, what do
we sure were.
It's very important.
Yeah, and it landed as liquor sales, but I was just curious if there was any, I didn't hear any conversation about on-off sale, which is different.
It's still a thing.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to
Yes.
get different liquor licensing.
So I wasn't sure if that's something we wanted to call out.
A liquor store versus a bar where you could buy a 6-pack.
I didn't even know that was a thing. You could
Yeah.
do it
Yeah.
But-
Well, and a brew pub sells, I mean, you can go to a brew pub and have beers there, but they also sell like growlers.
Growlers.
and
Correct.
6-packs,
Oh,
12
yeah.
Yep.
I
packs,
think that was
whatever.
mentioned someplace.
We talked about that for a long time.
Okay. I think it should be,
On and
Because-
off sale?
should we, I mean, are we gonna allow off sale?
I don't know why we wouldn't.
Okay.
I mean, they have to get a separate off-sale license.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to,
Is off sale a liquor store?
No, it could be a bar,
it's a
Okay.
bar
Sale.
that will sell you a whole bottle.
Okay.
yeah, that you can take away unopened.
I feel like my
You ever
college
been to a
mind
bar?
is blown away. I could have done this in
Yes. It's not everywhere.
Steamboat days.
Do not,
You guys,
do not
You
go to
guys-
Harvey's and ask for a case of beer.
you guys haven't been to the doghouse.
Oh, yes, we have.
Okay, and then, there was lots of conversations about the laundromats. And you guys talked about it being conditional, but it's still in here as being excluded.
I personally don't think it's a great use for this specific district for commercial users.
Okay. All right.
So not in the gateway, but it'll be in the.
General commercial is
Yeah.
fine.
Now, just as a side question, I was looking at the scientific and research. We can put certain safety restrictions on some of these businesses.
We were talking before the meeting, I have a general fear of living too close to a laundromat or, what's the other one? Dry cleaner. Yeah,
I thought it was gonna smell too
Dry
clean.
cleaning is,
terrifying.
But
Yeah.
laundromats not so.
is there some sort of like consideration for like, I know it'll change, but income of the people in the districts? Because if we think about laundromats and where they tend to pop up, it's a certain income level, I would assume. So are we keeping those folks from having that type of service in their neighborhood?
So if we think about like the CDA projects, all of those buildings have washer dryers in the units.
Okay.
So if there was an apartment building, I would say not many are being built right now without those services, but it's something we could absolutely talk about if that came
Yeah.
to.
But I even mean like single-family houses, like, I think about, I know that we don't talk about Carver Life here, but on Carver Life, when people are like, oh, this has been a house in my family for a while, like, I imagine that those are maybe a lower income
Sure.
threshold than some of the neighborhoods that are new builds.
Yep,
And I feel like if we're gonna limit laundromats, we have to consider the income of the areas where we're limiting it, just for single-family users. Apartments they have them.
yeah.
I can pretty much guarantee you, every single home in Carver has washer and dryer.
But if it goes out, can they afford to replace it?
No, they can drive over to Chaska and do their,
Well, and I am happy to put laundromat in the general commercial
I mean,
district. That's
I don't
totally
really
fine.
feel passionately about it, but
Yeah.
it's just like the first thing I think.
we'll probably never have to deal with it, so go ahead and put it in.
Yeah.
'Cause-
But now we'll get two knocking down our door.
Yeah, right.
But yes, we can move it to general commercial, that's totally fine.
Okay, you done, Sherry?
How about a
I had
laundromat
to have
grocery store?
With off-sale liquor.
Yeah, with off-sale liquor.
Okay, so for the definition of hotel,
Uh-huh.
it talks about telephone and desk service.
That definition is 500 years old.
Correct. Can we maybe update it?
Sure, what do you think it should be?
I don't even know what telephone service is. Like, there's not even phones in some of the rooms anymore. And desk service, I've gone to many hotels that you check in on an app.
Sure.
They don't have clocks anymore.
Or Bibles, it's okay. No,
They drive to Chaska for that.
yeah.
No laundry
So-
service.
I think the planning commission definition's a little weak. The planning commission of the city as appointed by
sure.
the city council.
That's what it is.
Sounds good to me. Like, what are we planning?
So I'm gonna offer, I'm gonna really challenge myself. It feels like a good point to send some of this over to city council to review some of the work that you've been doing. I'm gonna challenge myself to get the definitions done by our next meeting, or at least update enough of them so they feel like they match what we've worked on.
Okay.
Those were my only comments.
Yeah, beautiful.
Anybody else have any comments? Good, because we are 8 minutes and 55 seconds past my deadline.
So Chris, I hope you enjoyed a little bit of seeing how some of the zoning code is created.
This is better than someone watching the news.
We have,
Pure chaos.
It's not
Can I
usually
make-
this enthralling.
One comment.
Yeah.
In reading your responses to the emails we got, you do really great at that.
thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
You must reread them multiple times, because I just shoot mine out and then I get feedback that it's not appropriate.
When I was reading them, I was like, this is like precise, but also,
So, and sometimes I do, like, I read them, I take a beat, because if I had fired them off right away, they might be a little bit different, but thank you.
So are we done with that task?
Yeah, let's
Do
be
we have
done
more
for tonight.
sections to review of that? The zoning ordinance?
Oh, yeah, it goes,
Oh, yeah.
it goes to 200.
Oh, yes, we'll be doing this for a while. Well, not me.
But this feels like the stuff that's really important, like the residential districts and stuff. A lot of the next sections, it's like the bluff ordinance, a buffering ordinance.
Well, the bluff ordinance is really fun.
I know, we have to make it better. We will. We'll make
Oh,
it better.
my God, I can't believe they want to make it better.
I don't want to change
I didn't
the
see
rules.
anything wrong with it.
We worked so hard.
I don't want to change the rules. I want to make it more readable.
Okay.
That's
that-
my goal.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
Can
Do
you
that
use
a-
AI to rewrite
Can you
it?
do that
Maybe.
after March of next year?
Stop it. Don't say
Okay.
that to me. That's annoying.
Let's move on, shall we? Let's move to number 7, communications. Reed, do you have anything for us? Because you're the one who talks the longest.
Okay, yeah, just, again, it's nice to have public comments, so we appreciate all feedback from the public. It's good to get, some perspective. I, again, thank everyone for taking the comments, and as in general, that's all the things the Planning Commission tries to think about, but it's nice to hear from people directly impacted, so they sometimes think of things you didn't. Just from the City Council, we had the Merriam Junction Trail open groundbreaking Tuesday this week, and then last month we had the groundbreaking for the CDA apartments, and then we've got some new commercial stuff coming up, and thank you for all your hard work.
All right, great. Thanks so much. Billy?
I'm on the PTO board for Carver Elementary, and we
Oh,
are
that's so
doing our one.
I was too, like 30 years ago.
We're doing our one and only fundraiser, so if you have a kiddo
Spaghetti dinner?
that goes, no, it's a
Oh.
readathon. So our
Oh.
school is really focused on literacy because it improves every subject.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the only fundraiser that we do for the school year. So if you have a kiddo that you know in your neighborhood that goes to Carver Elementary, we operate on a much lower PTO budget than a lot of the districts do, or a lot of the schools in our district do. But we're going to have the largest elementary school in Carver County, so it's really crucial that we raise funds
Carver County or the school district?
in the school district.
So do you challenge a kid to read books and then like pay them for it?
Yeah, they
Okay.
do they have like a bingo thing that they do, and it's like read a book upside down and and our theme this year is Olympics. So it's like reading for the gold or whatever. But I think our budget operates on like $8.25 a kid. So it's like a really low budget that we use for the PTO, but we do a lot of, like when the math curriculum changed, the PTO funded all
How many
of the
kids
new
go to
books.
Carver?
790, I think.
Oh, wow. I
It's
didn't
a lot.
realize it was that big.
It's a lot. So if you have a kiddo in your neighborhood that goes to Carver Elementary, that's kicking off next week.
Okay.
Otherwise, I suspect we could sponsor your kids too.
Yes,
If
or
we need,
you can just
if we need a
PTO
tribute.
in general. But yeah, I didn't realize all that the PTO touches. I thought it was just fun stuff, but it is so crucial to like
Yeah.
the operations of the school. So that's my thing.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Krista?
Is there planning to be an October meeting?
I don't know. Do you have, I know it's MEA, isn't it?
I will be out of town.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
okay.
18th.
Yeah. I would say, like, project-wise, there probably isn't going to be a huge application. We could do the definitions.
No.
Okay, we could take a breather. We could probably take October off. Cannabis, if cannabis comes up, if we make firm decisions about that, that might hit it, but if I can push to November, I will try.
It is MEA weekend.
What about cannibalism?
Never an option.
That's different. Okay, Jim, what do you got?
I just want to let everybody know that next week, in this room, is going to be the League
Oh,
of Women
yeah,
Voters
that's right, 26th, 7
Forum
p.m.
for Carver.
7 p.m.?
You ready, Reed?
7 p.m., yes.
Okay. Very good.
Especially now that we have no newspapers.
Yeah. Sherry, anything?
Yeah, I have two things. This is the first year that I held a garage sale for Steamboat Days, and I drove my neighbors crazy with all the traffic, but I am telling ya, people that listen to this, that is the weekend to have a garage
Oh, yeah.
sale.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, it pulled the traffic in, it was fantastic, and obviously spent the weekend down here, so kudos to the groups that
Yeah.
put on the event,
I
because
thought the
it was
fireworks were amazing this year.
it was fantastic. Of course, fire department water fights were my highlight, plus the fireworks. And then I have to mention the fire department open house.
Oh, yeah, we.
Oh, yeah.
That
that
is coming up
marked
on
down.
October 8th. Come and join us, 5 o'clock for dinner.
They make really good chili.
Chili and hot dogs. You might see somebody behind the counter handing out food. Just got to do the spouse thing. So
Yeah.
come down and say hi.
Right.
Can I say one more thing about Hometown?
No, I'm sorry, your turn's over. Yeah, go ahead.
They have been so great with the school, and I want them to do so well in Carver. Like, they're volunteering to do our like low income food distribution for the weekends. They gave a lot of money. Like, they're so wonderful.
I know.
to
I've
deal
been
with.
so impressed too. They're a
Yeah,
great
they've been
group
really
of people.
great. So I really want them to.
Has
do
everyone checked out Hometown Bank?
Oh, yeah.
No, not yet.
You should go and make
I
sure
have to
you
take Cecilia over to open an account.
make sure you look at the room in the basement.
well. Yeah, it's so great.
It's so cool.
Is that the
And they're
community,
just
community room?
really great.
Yes, but it's I'm gonna give it away, but it has a hidden door,
Huh?
and it opens up, and it feels kind of like a dark speakeasy. It's just a really cool space,
Yeah. And they've just
okay.
been really,
and you can rent the rooms.
like, across the whole
Yeah.
community, I feel like they're like, how can we get involved? Which is really great.
I'll probably see a couple of them tomorrow, so I'll pass that on.
Yeah, they've been
And
really
the
great.
paninis at Mokamook.
All right,
Oh.
this is getting way off planning.
Okay.
Do you have anything?
Unless you have questions for me, no.
No. Okay, could I get a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
There's
Second.
motion, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are